Welcome to Rebel Business School. By the end of this week, you won't just have ideas, you'll have a real business experiment running.
You'll know what to sell, who to sell it to, and some of you will even have a customer by the end of this week.
And today, we're going to blow up the myths that stop people starting. No debt, no waiting 2 years to make a profit, no business plans.
Instead, you're going to learn how to start and restart your business for free. You're going to be borrowing things and bartering things, and some of you will be selling before you've even made anything.
In 2009, when I first wanted to start a business, I went to the official government service business link. They gave me a 40-page checklist, told me to write a business plan, and killed all of my energy for starting up a business. I nearly gave up at that point.
And that's when I got sent to fix Alan. And then together we tore up the rule book and we changed the way that business is taught. And that's how the Rebel Business School was born.
Fast forward, 60,000 people, 11 countries, and a King's Award for Enterprise. But today isn't about us. It's about you.
So if you stay to the end of the session, you're going to discover the #1 secret to starting a business. And by the way, it's not what you think it is.
Plus, we'll give you the exact steps to launch your first mini experiment this week.
So put down the ironing, close down Netflix, and stay with us, because in the next 90 minutes, it could actually change your business. And for some of you, it will change your life too.
Are you ready? Let's go, Simon.
Let's go. Let's go. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen, Alan. My question for everybody here is, can you see my screen? That's the first question. That's a kick.
Yes.
Perfect. Right. I had a little moment where my screen froze. I think it's going to be one of those tech nights tonight. So question is for everybody, where are you now? Where are you now? Because we're all going to be at different stages of running a business. Some of you will be explorers. What does explorer mean? For you that are explorers, it means you've got lots of ideas, or maybe you need some ideas and you need some help to choose, or this is all about help me decide even if running a business is for me. So maybe you're an explorer. Some of you will be starters. That means that you've already started your business, but it's not working how you want it to go yet, or you're ready to go. And lots of people we know are ready to start. Some of you are ready to press the go button. So we're going to run a poll in a second. We want you to interact with the poll in a minute, but I've got one more for you. It's a builder. Who are the builders? These are the people that you've already got a business. Maybe it's going well, but you want some help to grow, or you're in business and you're here to refresh your knowledge, because sometimes we get caught up in running our business and months and months and months go by, years go by, and we've not done any learning. So maybe you're here to get a sense of refreshment. So we're going to run a poll very shortly, and we're going to ask you the question, are you an explorer? Are you a starter? Or are you a builder? Now, if you're on the Zoom with us right now, you'll be able to engage with the poll that comes up on the screen. If for any reason that doesn't work either, or you're watching on YouTube, we've got a QR code for you to follow, and the team will put the link to the poll in the chat so that we can understand where you're at. Alan and I and the rest of the team over the next few weeks can tailor our content just for you. So are you an explorer? Are you a starter? Or are you a builder?
Kate says all three, Simon. All three at once. I love it. Exploring new ideas, starting ideas, and building. It's all coming in at the moment, which is awesome. Ashrafullah says, I'm a starter. Simone's a starter. We've got explorers. Morgan's a builder. It's interesting, like all the different stages you are at. And then what we've got to do is work to help you get to the next level, either launch, build the business, or improve the idea you've already got, or make it actually make money. Thank you so much for the engagement. It keeps Simon and I knowing exactly where you are. So the more you write the comments and engage with us, the more we can understand where you are and deliver what you need.
Yeah, beauty. Did the poll come up, Alan, or are we just getting stuff in the chat right now?
We're getting stuff in the chat. I've not had a poll appear, Simon.
How about now?
Just appeared now, which is great.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's great. And thank you everyone for putting the comments in the chat. It's great to capture the data as well, because we'll be able to see very quickly and very visually where people are at. Beautiful.
That's
Thank you very
awesome.
much, Chelsea, for doing the QR code. That's, you get extra points for that, the whole multitasking thing. That's superb.
A few people, Simon, have said, will these sessions be available on YouTube afterwards?
Yes, they will, Alan. Thank goodness for that, because I'm not quite sure what's happened with the Zoom tonight, but there we go. So I'm so glad that YouTube exists for us to have the unlimited Zoom room. So how are we doing for this? I think we're getting close, aren't we? I'm going to end the poll in about, should we do a countdown? Just 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. I didn't say it was going to be a linear countdown, just to give people the chance to interact. Last few seconds, folks.
And just to shout out to Hayes Harry on YouTube, who is saying hello as well. They are here and getting started with their business, which is phenomenal. So let's move on, Simon. We've got about 50% explorer, 35% starter, and 16% who already have a business and are building, which is phenomenal. So now we know where people are.
That's great to know. And for those of the in the explorer or the starter camp, this session is going to be fantastic for you. It's timed perfectly. For those that are building, I want you to have the word restart in your head, because this is a sense of refreshment. This is about refocusing, and you can use the information today to refocus where you need to put your energy and attention in your business. Okay, so with that in mind, explorers and builders and starters, with that in mind, what do you actually need from this course? What is it specifically? Let's get really granular. What is the information that you need? What's the skill that you need to learn? Please type this in the chat. Whether you're in the Zoom call or on YouTube, please interact with us and tell us what are the specific things that you're looking for. And hopefully what you say coincides with what we've got planned for the next 10 weeks. But we can adjust it if we need to, Alan.
Yes, we can. And I'm excited to get into this to be able to help people really deliver what they need. Hillary says motivation. We've got focus, clarity, more sales, marketing, social media. We have a completely free 10-week course for you that will guide you through all of the elements you need to build the business. So you might not get it all tonight, but you will get the start tonight. And then by the end of the 10 weeks, you will have everything you need. Lauren says how to set up the business legally. Katie and I are running the session on structures of business, tax and accounting. So you'll be very excited to come to that session all about tax and accounting. We'll help you with all of that stuff. This is exciting.
Matilda says she's here for the oomph to get going. I've got great news for you, Matilda, that even Alan on his own has enough oomph for everybody, as you can probably figure out. But actually across the entire Rebel team, we've got copious amounts of oomph. We've got extra box loads of the stuff. And my sense is, I mean, we've run versions of this session one so many times, it never fails to deliver the oomph. For other people that have written confidence and the clarity and the ability to generate ideas, Julia wants to know if anything with her idea is actually doable. It absolutely is, Julia. It's always doable. We will find a way. So, Alan, I think we should go on to the small print so people know what they're letting themselves in for. Are you up for that?
Yes, let's get going.
Okay, guys, can you just read that for me? Have a quick read through. There we go. There's the small print. Excellent. Right, let's move on. I'm just kidding. I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. The first thing that I wanted to share with you is that please can you, I'll come back to that. Please can you help us to curate a safe space? This is a place for love and for kindness. And there's a lot of nonsense and mischief out there in the world right now, especially on the internet. That's not what this course is. Please help us to keep this a safe and nice space for everybody to explore ideas so we can support each other and we can get out there and get going. Alan, you want to tell us about the next one?
Yes. This is not a competition. It's interesting. In many ways, the TV has taught us that business is a dog-eat-dog competition, but it's not. We can all win. There is enough business for everyone. And if we support each other, we'll actually go further. So this is not a competition.
Excellent. And with that in mind, we don't, but actually, by the way, let me ask you this question. Please type RFS in the chat if you've done one or more of the Rebel Finance School sessions. Please stick it in the chat so we know if the infiltrators are here, Alan. Look at that. You will know this expression very well, folks, that we don't compare pineapples. We don't compare pineapples because we're all starting in different places. Okay, so some of you are thinking, oh my goodness, I'm on a business course. Am I even in the right place? Isn't it going to be full of really businessy people? Well, maybe, but that doesn't matter. What matters, not where you start, but it matters that you start. Alan, do you want to tell us about the buffet?
So I want you to see this course as a buffet. If you went to a giant buffet, would you try and eat everything?
I'd have a go.
Yeah, I know. Some of you would try and eat everything and then you'd feel very sick afterwards. This course is a buffet. You just take the bits you actually want and need, you apply those and make progress, and then you can come back for more when you are ready. So the course is a buffet. And why is it a refrigerator, Simon?
Well, because it's the food theme, Alan. I don't think I didn't have very much dinner tonight. I just want to talk about food. It's a refrigerator course, meaning you only get out what you put in. If you go downstairs to your refrigerator at 1 a.m. this morning, there's nothing in it. It's because you've put nothing in it, or maybe you've taken everything out of it. But the point here is, folks, everything that you put into this course will be what you get out. Now, over the course of the next 10 weeks, we're going to put everything in it, and we invite you to do the same. Alan, we need to remember
If
this.
you feel overwhelmed, and it happens to all of us, it happens to the best of us. If you feel overwhelmed, just remember to breathe. Take a deep breath, relax, and then we can come back at it, because it will happen to the best of us.
Multitask at your peril. If you're one of those people that looks a little bit like my desk at the moment, where you've got a couple of laptops going, you're ironing, you're hoovering, you're vacuuming the kids. If you've got too much stuff going on, the multitask is going to mean you're going to miss what you actually need. So multitask at your peril, invest in your future self. We've got 90 minutes to 2 hours at the most together this evening that we're going to spend. Invest your time, ditch the multitasking, save it for tomorrow. Should we talk about MLM, Adam?
Quick note about multi-level marketing schemes. As you've seen in Rebel Finance School, sometimes people infiltrate the group and try and sell you crypto and all sorts of dodgy investments, and you have to be very careful. Multi-level marketing schemes, this is not what this course is about at all. And if there's someone in here promoting them or selling them, that's nothing to do with us. Just be careful of the spam that comes into the group and stay focused on building your own business. So that's all we just wanted to say on that, is just stay focused on your own bit.
Okay. And look, this course and the very nature of starting a business tends to attract people that come from neurodiverse backgrounds. Self-employment, starting a business gives all of us the power to create the kind of business, to create the job for ourselves that we want to work in, right? Now, this course has been designed with people from neurodiverse backgrounds in mind. It's also been designed by neurodiverse people, although you won't hear Alan use that term because he doesn't like being given that label. So here we are, folks. What I want to say to you is we want to give you as much love and care as we can. And if there's something that you need to tell us so that we can improve how to make our course accessible to neurodiverse people, please tell us. We want to hear from you. You are very welcome. Not only are you very welcome, you are in the right place. Alan.
There is obviously a money back guarantee. If you don't like the course, you can have your full money back. If you paid, something went wrong. So hopefully you didn't pay to be here and you have turned up. And if you do want a refund, please speak to Simon.
Oh, I didn't realize I was going to be mentioned in this one. So as you've probably gathered, Alan is my business partner. Since 2012, we have been supporting people by running these courses across the UK and in other countries too. We've trained over 60,000 people in 11 different countries. This is not our first rodeo, folks, so you are in safe hands. Now, the question that we ask absolutely everyone that comes to one of our courses is this: what's stopping you? My question to you is, what's stopping you? In a moment, we're going to run the poll. And I think the thing for me here is, if you're on YouTube, we're going to send you a QR code any second. Now, there we go. What's stopping you? There might be lots of reasons, but tell us what it is. We'll launch a poll if you're in the Zoom club, and you've got the QR code if you're watching on YouTube right now. What's stopping you? Is this about money? You don't have the money to grow. Is it about fear and confidence? And some people have already mentioned that. Is it about you don't know what steps to take next? Is it that you don't have the know-how or the skills yet? Maybe you struggle to sell or talk about what you do, or maybe your personal situation makes it tricky. Please interact with that poll. Thank you for everyone that are answering. Alan, I've never seen these numbers go so fast.
And sometimes it's several of them because it's like, well, I need money to start, and I'm afraid if I borrow money, what's going to happen? And then sometimes it's like, well, I don't know what to do. So that creates fear of like, what's the next step? And that paralyzes. So sometimes it's a few of these that affect each other. Ariana says limiting beliefs and limiting mindset, imposter syndrome. That's definitely one that happens when you launch your business, is like, what if they realize it's just me? And then they kind of see who you are. And we've got money, courage, fear. Money is a big issue, says Stephen. Fear of failure, imposter syndrome. It's really fascinating what stops this. And what I would love you to do is, if you're reading the chat in YouTube now with Gemma, Adil, Sika, Sadia, if you're reading the chat and on Zoom, you will see you're not alone. Like, this is the same stuff that stops all of us. This is the things that affected me when I was launching a business, Simon. But when you're going through it, you can absolutely feel like you're the only person in the world that's feeling this. So I think the biggest thing I would love you to get right now is, we all go through this. So let's go through it together and work out how to build that business.
And I love the comment from Shelley, who said, Shelley Nicole says, what's the best idea to start with? That's what Shelley wants to know the answer to. And I'm so thrilled that you've typed that, because that's one of the things that we're going to tackle. And for those of you that are concerned about money and whether you need funding and how that all that stuff works, we're going to be coming for that very shortly. So I'm just going to end the poll in 5 seconds. So if you want to interact with the poll and you haven't done so yet, you've got 5, 4, 3, 2, none, 1, 4, 2, 1, 3, 0, and time's up. Oh, there's a couple that sneaked in at the end. There we go. So can you see the poll results, Alan? They're super interesting, huh?
I can. 12% is money, 26% is confidence, 21% is what's the next step, which if you don't know the next step, you're definitely not going to feel confident. Then we've got, I don't know the how to or the skills yet, which is 13%, 9% struggling to sell or talk about what they do, 13% personal situation like family, time, health, and then 6%, I don't have the right people around me. Well, luckily for the 6%, there are a lot of people around you going through the same thing. So I'm pretty sure we can find someone for you to work with on this stuff. And then I'd like to highlight one thing from the chat. Ellen said the biggest thing stopping her, Simon, is wanting everything to be perfect.
The enemy of perfection, Alan. That's what you are. I think I've been trying to perfect things for 13 years, and you keep taking me down, Alan. It's not fair. But we'll be talking about that a little bit more, won't we?
We will. Just to let everyone know, this is like the first learning point. Perfection doesn't exist. Perfection does not exist. And if that's your standard, you will trap yourself and you will never, ever, ever get there. So done is better than perfect. And we will coming on to more than that soon. But please write down, done is better than perfect. Because I've met so many people that aim for perfection and they never do anything.
Yeah, lovely. When you said perfection doesn't exist, Alan, I was pointing at myself, but you didn't notice. So should we keep going? Okay. Should we have a look at the percentages when people, because we ask the same question in every single course we've ever done, and the results are that we've had today are almost identical split to the ones that we've pulled together for this session. So when we had a look at what people say to us, they say 37% of our audience say that they're unsure what to do or how to do it. Does that sound familiar to people? Like, I don't really know where to start. I've got these ideas, but what do I do first? I don't know which thing to start with. Do I need a logo? Do I need a website? Do I need social media? Do I need a customer? But I can't get a customer. Do I need stock first? I don't know what to do. The second thing that they say is fear or lack of confidence. Just under a third of our audience say, I'm a bit scared to put it out on Facebook. I'm scared of what people are going to say about me. What happens if it doesn't work? Or here's my favorite one. What happens if it does work? when I first started doing this kind of stuff, I was amazed that that was one of the things that people were worried about. And then I experienced it myself and I'm like, oh, I get it. I'm worried about it working because if what happens if I get too many orders and I can't fulfill them? Okay, so there's lots of stuff that people are worried about. There's about a fifth, just under a fifth of people are worried about finance and about funding and how to, because you need money to start a business, don't you, Alan?
Let's
We'll
smash
come
that
on to
one.
that. I'm going to come on to that very shortly. And some of you have said, of course, your personal situation and other things, not having a team and some other tricky things that prevent people from getting started. So let's deal with the money issue first, because actually this is really empowering, not only just because, you're concerned about the money, but if we can take the money stuff out of the equation, it makes you much better able to fail fast and fail cheap. Now, I've tried failing slow and failing expensively on your behalf, so you don't have to do that. Let's try it another way. So, Alan, what do you actually need to start a business?
Well, there's the myth, and then there's what you actually need. So if you Googled, how do I start a business, you will find sites that tell you, number one, write a business plan. Then you use that business plan to get funding. And then after you've got funding, you build everything, you make sure it is perfect. You set up your legal structures and then you get going from there. And funding is the one that always comes up at the start.
Funding is a code word, isn't it, Alan? It's a code word for debt.
Debt.
Okay, and now this thing about getting funding to start a business, the reason that we're taking this on really early is because it's based on a fundamental belief that it takes money to make money. This is no longer true. We're going to show you 5 different ways that you can start a business without spending any money, and it's a way of thinking about business that's so empowering. So this is no longer true. Now, we did a little bit of research on startup loans, didn't we, Al?
We did. We've actually tackled them quite heavily. It's interesting because if the banks called a startup loan a startup debt, no one would take it. And the fact they just have to hide it under different vocabulary to get people to take it is crazy. And then the default rates, 40% of people who take startup loans from the UK startup loan scheme default on them. 40%. So you've almost got like a 50-50 flip of whether you're going to default on your loan or be able to pay it back. And the fact you paid it back doesn't mean you've got a successful business. You might have gone and got a job to pay it back. So your success rate is incredibly low with loans.
So what do they say that you need to start a business? If you took your business idea to an accountant, to a bank manager, to business advisor, even business teachers, I know a couple, what's the first thing that they say you're going to need before you can launch your business? It is a business plan. Now, I've never met anyone that says these words. Wow, Simon, that business plan really changed my life. I've never heard those words, Alan, have you?
I've never heard those words. The business plan is basically a large document that you create to be able to get funding. That's what it is. I wrote a huge business plan. I put it in the drawer and then I went to see a customer. And in that one meeting, everything changed. Business plans are about getting funding, not actually about helping you to build a business. There is a big difference between having a plan and having a formally written business plan. And we love having a plan, but you don't need a 28-page document with colored charts telling you that you will capture 2% of the global economy for whatever it is you're starting, because that is complete made-up fiction.
I do like a bit of fiction, Alan, but not that kind. So the thing about the business plan, folks, the distinction I want to make for all of you now is that we are going to help you plan your business. We are not going to help you write a business plan. And the reason for that, there is no point helping you plan your business if you don't have any customers and you're not making any money. So what we're going to do is to turn this stuff on its head, because the traditional approach to starting a business, if you're ready to go or you're ready to restart your business, it says, number one, you've got to come up with an idea, then you write your business plan, then you do your market research, then you get funding, then you spend money on getting ready, you set up your legal structures, you do your marketing, and maybe you make money in year 2. Can anyone wait 2 years to make money? Does anyone want to wait 2 years? Please type in the chat. If you said yes, I would like to wait 2 years, you type the word yes. Oh, there's lots of no's, Alan. No, wait a minute. Somebody said yes, but it went too fast for me to call them out. But that's fine. Okay, so this doesn't excite me, folks, and maybe it doesn't excite you. But the question I've got for all of you is, do you think this approach, this step-by-step approach of writing business plans and getting everything right, getting all your ducks in a row before you launch, do you think that helps people, or do you think it holds them back? Do you think it would help you, or do you think it would hold you back? Now, when you think of all of the things that prevent people, when we asked you that question, what's stopping you? You said, I don't know what to do and in what order. You didn't have the confidence to launch and you're worried about money. Those three things, do you think a business plan is going to solve those problems for you? No, it does the opposite. It compounds them. Okay. And by the way, it's the same in every single country we've been to. And that really surprised me. So, for example, it happens in London, it happens in Colombia, it happens in Wales, it happens in France. I didn't have a picture for France handy. It happens in Morocco, it happens in New Zealand, it happens in America, it happens in Scotland, and it also happens in Mexico. And by the way, this is a little map of where we have people signed up from the course. Alan, been to any of those places? You've been to most of them, haven't you?
I've been to a lot of them, but it's incredible to see such an international group here. What we kind of wanted to say to you is, like, we've run courses in a huge number of countries, and Simon and I were actually scared the first time we went to run a course in Africa. We're like, well, it's going to be different in Namibia, but it wasn't. And we found all over the world the same things hold people back.
So let's deal with the thing that we really know can help you right now, because the question is, what's the only way to know if your business idea is going to work?
And this could be the one thing that unlocks you, this one thing. Because what does everyone do? Let's imagine I'm an entrepreneur and I'm going to come up with a business idea. Simon, are you okay to be my friend for the sake of this exercise?
How long is the exercise going to take?
You can refute it afterwards. Okay. So imagine I come up with an idea. I've designed a new mobile phone case. It's going to protect the phone. It's going to amplify the sound. It's this brand new mobile phone case. Where do most people go? They've come up with the idea. Who do they first talk to?
They talk to their friends.
That's who they go and see. And they go, Simon, I've got this idea. What do you think of the new mobile phone case? Do you like it? What do you think?
I really like your mobile phone case, Alan. I love your idea.
Is that good feedback, everyone?
Yes.
Does that feedback help me to launch my business? Do you think it helps me? No, it does not help me. That's Simon just plumping up my confidence and being nice to me because he's my friend. Being nice to someone doesn't help you. It really doesn't help you. What you should do is, if Simon says he likes it, at that point, you go, Simon, I actually have 2 prototypes with me. They're £20. Would you like to buy one now?
Maybe. Okay, you're getting really scary. This is scary and scary. I can't even say the words. I'm discombobulated, Alan.
People will be nice to you until you ask them for money. People will be nice to you until you ask them for money. That is the only moment of truth that you have when you're launching your business, is when you actually ask for the cash. That's the only moment you know whether you've got an idea that will work or not, is by asking for the sale. That's it. And I don't care what it is, the quicker you can get to sale, the quicker you will know whether your idea works or not. Up until that point, it's all guesswork, because no one actually knows what will sell until you ask someone, would you like to buy it? That is the critical first step.
Yeah, and exactly that. And just to make the point, folks, and underpins all of this stuff, the world's biggest social media company, stick in the chat if you think you know what it is, the world's biggest social media company.
Krista got it immediately.
Oh yeah, look at that. Fantastic. Oh, there's one that I didn't know. There we go. Yeah, so Meta, Meta, the biggest social media company. Interesting thing about Meta is they don't create any media. They sell the eyeballs. They sell what we create. The second biggest retailer in the world, Amazon, another interesting one. They don't own that many shops. It's all online. What about Uber, the biggest taxi company in the world? The interesting thing about Uber is that they don't own any taxis. And the biggest holiday accommodation provider on planet Earth doesn't own any holiday accommodation. Folks, business has changed. It's changing so fast right now. I don't need to tell you that, but just to underpin the approach that we're going to share with you this evening or this morning for the people that are in the future, or this afternoon for the people that are in the past. I went down a rabbit hole there, didn't I? I'm not saying you have to start one of these things, folks. You just use the tools. The tools that these companies have used to grow exponentially are available to all of us for free right now. This time that we are living in, everybody, is absolutely wild. So the information that we're going to give you during the rest of this session is all about helping you get ready to leverage the opportunity that is literally in our hands right now. Type in the chat if you know who this guy is. Okay, if you're in the UK, you're more likely to know who this guy is. Anyone know him? Oh, Sophie, gosh, you're fast today. Yeah, it's Joe. It's the fitness Joe. It's Joe Wicks. You remember this guy? So this guy, it's talking about you don't need to spend money and it doesn't need to be perfect. This guy went to the train station and handed out flyers for his workshops and nobody came. He literally put on a mat next to a roundabout opposite an ice cream van to run his fitness sessions and nobody came. And he kept doing it. And now he's got nearly 4 million followers. He's sold 2 million books and he's got 282 million views. Now, again, I'm not saying that this is the path that you need to take, because actually, folks, for many of us, making an extra £400 or £500 or dollars every month could be a life-changing number. Most of us don't want 4 million views to sell 2 million books. We might like the idea of it. But again, the methods that these guys have used are available to all of us for free right now. We want to get you set up for it. Question for you. When I say the word experiment, what does that mean to you, Alan? You're a bit of an experimenter with these things, aren't you?
Well, I love an experiment because the word experiment takes pressure off you for having to get it perfect the first time. People are writing in the chat, trial and error, push the limits, test it. It's okay to fail. The word experiment means you are testing an idea and you're having a go. And I love this word because what I want to do is experiment with the ideas that I have, because I don't know if my ideas are any good until I ask someone for the sale. That's the only point I know. If I ask someone for the money, that's the point I know whether or not the idea is good or not. So what we do is we run an experiment, we ask people for cash, and then if we get the cash, we know whether the experiment works or not. And that's a huge percentage of the methodology that we're going to be talking about today, is running mini experiments to see which of your ideas are the ones that are going to work the best. And I don't care whether you're an existing business owner, whether you are someone that's been in business for years, whether you're brand new, you've just got to test which idea is best, because the only person who can tell you which idea is going to work or not is the marketplace, individual customers. And the reason that we do all of this is done is better than perfect. It just gets us going.
So, folks, the question I have for you now is, if you're a rebel, then you're an experimenter, because we're going to be talking about running mini experiments all the way through this course and lots of different aspects of your business. And you're absolutely right. There was somebody that typed, I think it might have been Paul, or maybe it was Tim, typed, do experiment gleefully or fail gleefully. I just saw the word gleefully and it really jumped out at me. So if you're a rebel, then you're an experimenter. What I'd like you to do, please, if you're prepared to become an experimenter, please type the word rebel in the chat. If you're watching on YouTube, please stick the word rebel in the comments now. This is you signing up to this experimentation approach, folks, because what Alan said is exactly right. It takes the heat out of trying stuff. It's about putting yourself out there and giving it a go. And if it doesn't work, well, when you run an experiment, you just get results. Let's see what results that we can get together. There's lots of rebels here, Alan. I think we're in good shape. Now, Levi's asked the question. Levi says, what if you're too worried? Should we talk about that?
Let's talk about that for a second. So, what if you're too worried? Well, part of the worry is what would go wrong if it goes badly. So, we're now going to show you the next step in the course is 5 ways to build a business without spending any money, 5 ways to start for free. And the idea is if you start for free, you run a mini experiment, you've like minimized a lot of the risks with starting a business. Because the risk of starting a business is you spend a bunch of money, you try and sell it, no one wants it. You've lost money, you've lost a huge amount of time, and there's big risks associated to start a business. But what we always say is you can choose your risk. So you can choose whether you want to risk money, time, energy. What would you like to risk? Because you have to risk something. So to us, we always say, don't risk too much time, don't risk too much money, and let's risk energy. And let's risk embarrassment of someone saying no, because I can get over embarrassment. Because there is a risk of embarrassment. Like if you ask someone if they want your product and they say no, you may well be embarrassed. But will you survive from that?
I've been embarrassed more than once in my life, Alan, and I'm still here.
Yeah, me too. Let's not talk about those moments. We move on quickly. And that's basically what you do is you do these mini experiments. If it goes wrong, we move on quickly and we find the idea that does work. Because is your first business idea going to be the one that is the multi-million pound business? Is your first business idea going to be the one that is crazy? Well, maybe there's a small chance that the very first business idea you have will be the most successful, but that's not often the way. Most of the times it is you have to try a few ideas or variations on an idea to find the one that actually goes crazy. So what we want to do is test quickly, work out which idea works best for the customer, and then grow it. That's it.
So should we get on with these ways to start for free, Alan? Let's de-risk it for Levi and everybody else. And you're absolutely right. You know, for me, this is about lowering the bar of entry. If you spent loads of money, then it feels really scary. If you don't spend any money at all, well, we just risk our pride. We risk a conversation that doesn't go how we want it to go. But exactly as Elizabeth said, even if you do get that no, there's information in that. You can learn from that. We can adapt and we can move on. So let's dive on to the 5 ways to start for free, Alan.
Love that.
So the first one then, what can you actually get for free? This is our starting point, folks. Before you spend any money, when you think of all the things that you actually need to get your business off the ground, whether you need a website, whether you need business cards, whether you need equipment or stock or premises to work from, or something that you think, I can't actually launch my business. I can't go and have a sales conversation yet because I haven't got X, whatever X is for you. The first question you should be asking yourself is, can you get it free? Now, when we dive into sessions with Laura a little bit later in the course, sessions 5 and 6, we're going to be doing marketing and digital marketing stuff with fabulous Laura. She is the Canva queen, and you can use Canva for free. You can make logos, you can make websites, you can make flyers, you can make pretty much everything except dinner on Canva, and it's completely free. I haven't found how you can make dinner yet, Alan, but you can challenge me if you want. And with Laura, we'll talk about payment gateways. So if you wanted to be able to take money on your website without spending any money up front, because there's plenty of payment gateways out there, but they want to charge you money for devices. Why are you sort of firing rockets off, Alan? Is it just because you're excited?
Let's launch.
You're like, okay, got it. Right. I get it now. I just like the free stuff that you get excited about the free stuff. Google's got loads of business stuff. In fact, go onto Google, type in the words, how can I get whatever it is you need for free, and get started. Just like one of our favorite businesses from Kent, the fabulous Joanna, who is the bra boss of Kent. When she got started, she was able to get lots of clothing for free and didn't have to pay for it in advance. That's what got her business up and running. What's next, Alan?
So the number one way is what you can get for free, and it's unbelievable what you can get for free. If you can't get them to give it to you entirely for free, then maybe you can borrow it.
Ooh.
So number two is borrow. What could you borrow to set up your building? Because there are unbelievable amounts of underutilized resources around the world that you could borrow. Universities have free spaces, there's community spaces, there's parks, there's unbelievable numbers of things you can borrow. And that actually comes down to the second bit, which is like, what can you borrow to get going? Do you have an example, Simon?
The fabulous Nadia from TLZ Movement Clothes in central London. Nadia has, do you think, I mean, the thing for me, Alan, do you think if I said to you, Nadia's got her own training room for free in one of the most expensive postcodes in the whole of the UK, zip codes for those that are watching and listening from elsewhere. She's got tables, she's got chairs, she's got a training area where she teaches people how to do sewing. And she said, I'm very excited, Simon, because they've even got toilets and she doesn't have to pay any money. So she was able to borrow that space for free. So step one, can you get it for free? Step two, can you borrow it? Step three, can you barter? Now, this is about doing the swap deals like the fabulous Herman. I think Herman might even be on the call this evening. The fabulous Herman, who is a musical savant. He is someone that can get a sound out of any instrument, like literally any instrument. He does tell me he doesn't do oboes, but I bet he could still get a decent sound out of it. Now, he barters for the skills of other music producers. He gets them to do the things that he doesn't like doing. And that means that he gets to keep doing the things that he wants to do, and it doesn't cost him any money. What can you swap? We do. We all love him. I love that. Cassandra loves Herman, so do I. So there we go. So that's our example for barter. Alan, what do we do next?
Number three is if you can't get it for free, if you can't borrow it, if you can't barter for it, sometimes you do need a small amount of money to buy something to be able to do it. What we always say is, what can you sell to raise the money? So what do you have lying around the house? Other old DVDs, books, board games, the kids. Like, what can you sell to generate a small amount of money to be able to get going? And when Katie and I had a house, we emptied out the spare room, sold all my old board games from when I was a kid and all sorts of things. And I was able to generate £1,000 from selling off random stuff in my house. And then you can use that money to be able to launch your business if you do need to buy something small to get going. So always do it from sales and profit, not from debt.
Yeah, I love that one, Alan. By the way, that picture that's on the screen is actually from Alan's boot of his car, which is quite sinister, don't you think, Tina? Like, yes.
I don't own a car.
Okay, so I know because I've seen how you drive. So, folks, whatever it is that you need to get started in your business, number one, can I get it for free? Number two, can I borrow it? Number three, can I barter it? If I can't barter it or borrow it or get it for free, and I do need to spend a little bit of money, sell stuff. Get it on Facebook Marketplace, get it on eBay. Guys, this is your entrepreneurial training course. This is the stuff that they don't teach you because it's a bit uncomfortable. It's a bit annoying and it's a bit of a faff. It's such a brilliant exercise to go through because you're not psychologically tied to the bills, to this money as you are your bills account. It feels less risky if you've got your own little slush fund. So let's go on to number 5. It's a foundational principle of the Rebel School. Number 5 is sell before you create. Sell before you create. The principle of this, folks, this is the Rebel way, everybody. This is the thing that if you don't listen to anything else this evening, apart from the debt thing, don't get in debt. Apart from that, if you listen to anything else, I want you to use your customers' money to build your business, not your own. Please type yes, please in the chat if that's more interesting than using your own money, or a hell yeah, or a okay, that sounds like a reasonable idea, Simon. I'll give that a go. Whatever you can be bothered to type. Give us a sense if you understood that, folks, and if you think you want to get involved. If you're on YouTube, guys, please do the same. Oh, there's some people that are interested in that, Alan. I like that.
This expression, sell before you create, took us a long time to develop. We've been through many versions of this, but the whole bit is sell before you build the thing. And once you've sold, the customer gives you the money, and then you can use that to deliver what you have promised, which is actually the reverse of what everyone tries to do in business. What pretty much everyone tries to do in business is build everything perfectly first. So they build, they create before selling. That's it. Like they write the whole book before selling it. They create the whole product before selling it. They write all the business stuff. They do the legal structure. They create everything before they sell it. They write the entire course. Do you know how many people I have met who write an entire training course before going to sell it? Like that's the complete opposite way to the way that I would do it. I would go and see the customer and say, would you like this training course? Then only if they have bought it would I write it. And that makes the difference between the way you do things. So everyone sells before they create, like they rent the office before they create it. And this is where you end up with entrepreneurs full of garages, full of stuff. Have any of you ever bought a bunch of, I don't know, t-shirts and had them printed? You bought a bunch of stuff, then you got boxes of this stuff in your garage, and then you try and sell it. Like that is creating or buying before you sell, and that's how you end up with a bunch of stuff that doesn't sell. We want to reverse that process, the process that everyone uses. In the chat, a few people are like, how do you do that? Well, let's give you a few practical examples of how you actually do this so we bring it to life. Because people are saying, like, I don't have any customers at the moment. What do I do now? Like Annette and everyone listening, that's the whole bit, is you don't have customers yet. That's Katie's favorite word. You don't have customers yet. So let's figure out how to get the customers, for them to give you the money, and then you deliver the product or service that you want to. So give us the example, Simon.
Well, I think, we practice what we preach. This is the very first course that we ran in 2012. We were called the PopUp Business School in those days. This is me wearing a suit jacket. That hasn't happened for some time. This is Alan here. I mean, so young there. I can see the impact of working with me for 13 years. There we go. So the very first business school that we ran was in September 2012 in the southwest of the UK. We delivered it in the September. When do you think we wrote the course? Was it 18 months before? Did we perfect it for 18 months before we delivered it? No, we went and found a customer first. And our very first sponsors was a company called Alliance Homes, the social housing provider. We spoke to a lovely man called Michael Williams. And I'll never forget the moment that Alan asked him to pay us in advance when we hadn't written the course yet. And I was like, Alan, are you sure we can do that? And have you ever heard someone's eyebrows crinkle down the phone? You can sort of crunching of the forehead. He said, we don't normally do that, Alan. And Alan said, well, to secure the dates, it would be wonderful if you could pay us in advance. So we had Michael Williams and the Alliance Homes money in our account 6 months before we delivered the course, 5 months before we'd even written the damn thing. We have to practice what we preach, folks. And I think the old version of me, guys, just to give you some experience, some confidence rather, the experience that I had was going back to when I started my first business in 2003. I was exactly like you, Levi. I tried to perfect everything before I put it out there. And by trying to perfect everything, because Alan told us earlier, there's no such thing as perfection, I kept hesitating because I wasn't sure if it was ready. In fact, the fact that it isn't ready is exactly the time to go and have the conversation, Alan, isn't it? What do you think?
That's exactly the time. So if you could cut out from the slides for us, Simon, that is exactly the time to do it. Fiona's put in the chat, like, do I still have to create the idea to be able to sell it? Yes. You get the idea, and then you take the idea to the person you think is most likely to buy what it is you're offering. And you say, here's what it is. You pitch them on it, and you ask them to actually part with the money and give you cash for it. Because that's the only real true moment of when you know whether it will work or not. So you take the idea to the person, you pitch it, and if they say yes, then you confirm the deal, you confirm the cash. You might need to go back to them with some information. So in our example, we pitched them the idea. They said, send us some more stuff. We sent them an outline of what would be in the course. It wasn't the full course, but it was an outline, which there are some amazing tools to be able to help you generate that kind of stuff. Then you go back to them. We agreed the deal. I think we got paid around about 6 months before we actually ran the course. And lots of you were saying, well, you'd be writing the course right up until the last minute. Like, I wanted to be prepared. Now, Simon would be writing it at the last minute, the old Simon, not the new Simon. I wanted to be fully prepared. So, like a month and a half out, I was working through it, I was structuring it, and I was going to deliver the best possible product for Michael at Alliance Homes that I could absolutely do. Uh, Tatilev says, what if you're not selling a service, you're selling a product? Well, like it's the same thing. You have Kickstarter. Kickstarter allows you to put pictures and the idea out there and then pre-sell. There are so many ways to do it. Your job is to define the idea, to write down some information about it, who you'll sell it to, what it is, and then to sell it before you build it, because that's the only true way you will know if you have a customer or not.
Couple of questions in the chat, Alan, I just want to pick up on. So in the Zoom Club, Rob Nelson says, what if you have to create the idea such as software? How can you sell before without a demo at least? What do you think of that? Because I think there's a couple of ways you could do that without necessarily having to build the whole thing or even the demo. What do you reckon?
Well, you could definitely pitch the audience. So you could build a small website outlining your idea and then put your email address in if your idea. So you could actually that's the kind of like proxy to would you buy? They've had to give you a piece of information. They've had to commit to you their details. So you could have the website pitching the idea and say, put your email address in. Then if you get a huge number of email addresses, you've at least got an interested audience in the software you're doing. And that's better than just building the software first. Or you find a company that has the money that really wants to solve the problem you're fixing, and you give them a lead time to be able to develop it, and you charge them along the way for it. So they pay a deposit, then they pay money along the way, which will fund you developing the product. But there are many, many ways to do it. Is that what you were thinking of, Simon?
I was thinking that we should go and start a software business now, Alan. It sounds like we've got it all sorted. And I do remember, like over the years, people with turning up with slide decks, they make a slide deck work as if the software was already working. You click this and then this screen comes up. And like you say, you can go and have a conversation with someone and get them excited. You can say, what's the biggest problem that you're facing when it comes to dealing with X on your systems? And then you could tell them your idea. And like you say, phase it, take money in stages, or get the first stage done, pay me then. And all this kind of stuff. I think this is the way forward for me. I get excited by this stuff. I'm like, oh, I could start that this afternoon without spending any money.
I love that. So we had one question come in from, it's disappeared.
I'm going back up.
Katie's going back up to the question now for me. The question was basically, what if someone steals your idea, Simon? What if someone steals your idea?
Okay, yeah. So look, there's a few answers to this one. I know that you and Katie are going to tackle intellectual property when you do your session at session number 4. But the quick starter for 10 here, people are going to steal your ideas if it's any good. That's it. So you can have 100% of nothing and you can keep hold of your idea and don't tell anyone about it. Or you could focus on making sales for you. Now, there's a tiny percentage of people that are inventors that create products, the next Dyson sort of characters. And it might be that intellectual property absolutely is something for you because you've invented an innovative product. When it gets to session 4, we give you a little bit more information about how to approach that. But the vast majority that ask that question are coming from a place of fear, not business need. Okay, now remember the first person that asked me that question had this different take on cupcakes, right? The kind of cupcakes that you eat from a mug. And she said, I wanted to protect that idea because I don't want anyone else to make cupcakes in a mug. I want it to be my idea. And my question to her was, well, do you want to be the next Mr. Kipling? Yes or no? If you want to be the next Mr. Kipling and roll it out across Europe, then sure, let's protect the idea. But actually, if you're looking to make an extra £1,000 a month or $2,000 or $500 or whatever the number is for you, focus on the sales, because at the moment your business isn't real, therefore it's not worth anything. So you'll end up spending money. Now remember, this method that we're teaching you is about getting started without spending any money. The risk is really, really, really low because your business isn't making any money yet. I mean, it took us about 8 or 9 years before we trademarked our business. That's because we've got people in the team. We've got income, we've got clients, the risk is a lot higher. When you first start, the risk is quite low. But if you think you have invented a product and you do want to go down an intellectual property route, Alan and Katie will get you in a headlock in session 4 and hold your face to the screen, and just to make sure if this really is the right thing for you.
Alexandra says, I have a great service, but often struggle to sell it. How can I improve this? We have sales sessions and marketing sessions coming up, but let's actually dive into a couple of examples. I think we had an example from the very first course, didn't we, Simon?
Yeah, do you want to talk about lasagna, Alan? Right. Let me just pop on the screen again, because what I love about this example is that this is the the moment in the course that I get excited, because this is the very first person to make a sale on one of our courses, and it was in course number 1. Folks, if you can tell me which person you think it is, type it in the chat. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the bottom row. Let's see if the YouTubers can get this ahead of the Zoomers. So if it be bottom left will be 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it wasn't me. So across the middle, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Put in the number of the person that you think was the first person to make a profit. It's Zoom versus YouTube, Alan. Who's going to get this right? What do you think? We should offer a prize, shouldn't we?
We should definitely offer a prize.
But only if you've never done the course before. Because I recognize at least 5 of these names here that may have got the answer correct. What's super interesting, Alan, is, let me just check in on the YouTube here. The tube of you, the answers are coming in thick and fast. No, I don't recognize that name. So I think Frida on YouTube might have this. Alan, what do you think? We would like to offer you a prize, folks. We would like to offer, I'm going to send this to Frida. Frida, drop us a message to the Rebel team, the info@email address. Type in the, I think you were the first person to get the answer correct. And if I'm wrong, I'll go back through the chat and double check. Because it's number 1, folks. It's the gentleman that's in the front left-hand corner. Alan, tell us what happened about Dennis.
So Dennis came on the course. He wanted to launch a cafe. That's what he really wanted to do, was to launch a cafe, but he did not have the money to do it, and he was stuck because he believed he needed to get a loan to borrow money to be able to get a space to launch a cafe. That was his whole goal. I mean, Dennis was an incredible person. I love Dennis. He was a recovering alcoholic and drugs addict, and he was not in a position to be able to get a loan with his history. If you could cut out the slides, Simon, that would be awesome. So he was not in a place to get a loan to be able to launch that business, but he really wanted to. So Simon and I were there going how are we going to help Dennis to be able to build a cafe? I'm he's not necessarily going to be able to. Maybe there's another way he can start. And he's on a course. There's 50 people in the room. I'm Dennis, why don't you sell lunch to people in the room? That's kind of like a mobile cafe. It's Dennis, what's your signature dish? And he looked at me and said, signature dish is lasagna. That is the dish that I am known for. I'm awesome. Go and sell lasagna to all the people on the course. It would be a bit like today. Dennis would come over to you and go, Tina, would you like to buy a lasagna for lunch on the next course? And Tina's nodding. She's like, yes, I like lasagna. And say yes. And he went round the room asking everyone, Ariana, Peter and Hannah, Gemma, would you like lasagna? And they said yes. And he came back over to Simon and I afterwards and he goes, I got 22 orders. I'm why are you so sad, Dennis? Why are you sad? You got 22 orders. That is amazing. And he said to me, Alan, I'm in exactly the same position I was before. I don't have the money to buy the tray or the ingredients to bake the lasagna. I'm stuck. And my heart went out to him. I'm how do I help this guy? And obviously the Rebel principle of sell before you create was ringing in my ideas. I said, well, Dennis, why don't you ask them for the money in advance? Julia says prepayment. Ricardo says pay in advance. Exactly. I said, go and ask them if they will pay in advance. And he said to me, do you think they will pay in advance? I was like, I don't know, Dennis. Ask them. I don't know if they'll pay in advance. Go and ask them. So he went charging back into the room and he was like, okay, so lasagna, I need the money to be able to buy the ingredients. Will you pay in advance? It's £5. Can you pay in advance so that I can buy the ingredients and bring in lasagna tomorrow? And this time when he came back, he had the biggest smile on his face that I have ever seen and a stack of cash in his hands. He'd made 22 sales at £5 an order. He was the first person to make a profit. We were 15% worried that that was the last time we'd ever see Dennis and he'd leg it with the money. But luckily he came back in the next day with lasagna. And he served his lasagna, he served some garlic bread, he fed the whole audience, and he made a profit. And that's what we're trying to say to you is sell before you create. If he'd have done it the other way round, he would have gone home at night, made 2 or 3 tray baked lasagnas, come in the next day and tried to sell them to the audience. What's the danger with that strategy? The danger with that strategy is people have already bought their own lunch. People don't fancy lasagna on the same day. Like, he might not sell them. Like, wastage, says Peter and Hannah, exactly. Whereas if you pre-sell, you can make exactly the volume that your customers need. And then you don't end up with a huge amount of wastage, and there's all the profit you need. Huge number of people are saying, I want lasagna. There is an opportunity right now in the chat. You can do home delivery lasagna for the next course. Sell the people lasagna. I'm kind of kidding, but you know what I mean. This is how you do what you need to do. Teresa asks if everyone does lasagna delivery to the US overnight. That's what she's asking, Simon.
Yeah, why not? Let's do it. We've never done that before, but we could try. What do you think? Amy said hearing this is making me want to hustle in the chat and find the Pokemon fans to sell to. Amy, I think you've already started, and it's not the first Pokemon related business that we've helped. And you've already started. You've started that conversation already. So that's, guys, this is a great principle. This is exactly how to get going, is to start the conversation. Go ahead, Al.
And the key point I want everyone to get here is trust. This only works with trust. So Dennis looked everyone in the face, said, I'm going to deliver lasagna. They believed him, so they gave him the money. And it was trust that allowed that to happen. If there's no trust, you can't sell up front. And this one idea, this one story has inspired thousands of people around the world to launch businesses in exactly the same way of selling before you create. And to give you one quick example that I absolutely loved, we had this really cute couple come on Rebel Business School and they wanted to launch an escape room. Now, to launch an escape room, traditionally, you have to borrow a huge amount of money. And then you invest all that money by getting a building, decking out the building and building everything. What they did was they borrowed a space from a local bar, a local hotel that had a spare room that they weren't using, and they pre-sold tickets to their escape room, which they built and they got people in to do. Like, I don't care what idea you've got, there is a way to sell before you create. And that's really the fundamental principle that we wanted to give you tonight, was selling before you create.
I love that. And there's a few people putting different types of businesses in the chat. Could it work for, well, it's just gone off my screen. Could it work for Kerry, who says, would it work for a nail technician? I saw somebody else's comment saying that I kind of get how it works for a product business, but how could it work for a service related business? And I think, you know, to me, it can work for any business. It starts with a conversation. It starts with building trust with people. In fact, folks, I've just done it very recently with a service-based thing. Like, we've got a leadership development program that we've sold to a company in the UK, and they've agreed to pay in advance in 4 installments. So there's no product involved. is actually about asking. It's about doing the ask up front. So for Kerry, the nail technician, for example, she needs to have a conversation with a customer. And by the way, one of the ways of leveraging getting this in advance is you can exchange a small amount of your profit by way of a discount. So for example, Kerry, if I was going to come to you and get my nails done, they probably do need doing. If I was going to come to you, Kerry, and get my nails done, I might say something like this. I say, well, how much do you charge? And you say, well, it's £20 for this, it's £25 for that, it's £30 for that. But if you pay me in advance to secure your booking, I can do it for £18. So you'll save yourself £2 or £7 or whatever it is. You can exchange a tiny bit of your profit in order to get people over the line, and it will inoculate yourself against people not turning up, which is one of the most annoying things about your kind of business and similar types of business. Hairdressers and yoga therapists, clients have a thing about canceling. Take the money up front, and it doesn't matter if they cancel because you can book them in another day and you've not lost the sale.
I love that, Simon. I did want to highlight one from Anna, who says, like, my idea, I need 100 clients to buy the service, but what if only 30 clients bought? That would mean I would be stuck in the middle, and then you cannot give the money back to people as well, they've already spent it. Well, that's the whole bit, is if you need 100 clients and you only get 30, like, what is stopping you returning the money because it didn't work, you didn't get the volume you need, and then trying a different idea? And the whole point of this is we are going to be 100% ethical, trustworthy, and honest. So if we sell it but we don't get enough orders, then we have to own up to that, return the money, and go, the idea didn't work, I apologize, and then work on the next thing. And if you do get enough ideas, then enough money, then we've got the money to be able to do the product, deliver it, and really make sure we do a good job. But that's the whole piece of this, is it's okay. Like, if it didn't go right, then it's okay to own it and give the money back and look after people.
Okay, awesome, Alan. So I think we're going to dive back into the slides in one moment. I just wanted to say hi to Eden Babe on YouTube, who says, what are your thoughts on starting a boring business? We're going to answer that question very shortly, because for those of you that are going, okay, I kind of get it, I can figure this out, I can sell in advance, I could borrow and I could barter things, but I'm still a bit stuck because I don't know which business to choose. If that's you, it's all right, folks. We've got you. We're coming for that very, very shortly. Just to wrap up this section, what I wanted to ask you folks is, what does this mean for you? So when it comes to starting a business for free and taking money out of the equation, do you think you're someone who can get something for free? Is this about going on Facebook and Googling stuff and seeing if you can get your products or your equipment without spending any money? Can you borrow things? Can you barter? Can you sell stuff to create that slush fund? Or the thing that Alan was talking about, a little bit like Dennis, and what this last conversation has all been about, using your customers' money to build your business, not yours, by selling before you create. Please type in the chat which one of those five, or which combination of those five things, is going to be as useful as possible to you. Which are the ones that are resonating? Which are the ones you think, you know what, Simon, I think you're right. I think that is my entrepreneur's training course. I will take the Kool-Aid and I will get stuff for free. I'm going to try and barter for some space. I'm going to sell the CDs, or that's how old I am, or DVDs. My kids don't even know what CDs are. Anyway, or like, I would love to push all of you into selling before you create. Because that's the game changer, Al, isn't it?
That is the game changer. That's the one that changed my life. The problem lots of people have with the sell before you create is it makes them feel uncomfortable. So my question to you all is, are you feeling comfortable at the moment? If so, that's a bad thing, because we don't like people to feel too comfortable. We don't want to be too comfortable. And the reason is because everything you want in life is outside your comfort zone. Everything you want in life is outside your comfort zone. There is the thing you want. It is outside your comfort zone. Because if it was in your comfort zone, you would have got it. Like, otherwise, you would have already had it. If you were comfortable getting the orders, if you were comfortable asking for the sale, if you were comfortable building the business and selling before you create it, you would have done it. This is going to make you feel uncomfortable, And what I want to do is reframe being uncomfortable as a sign of progress. Most people I've come across take being uncomfortable as a sign that they should stop doing something. To me, that being uncomfortable is a sign that I don't yet know how to do it, and I'm not practiced at it, and I need to do it more. Not I'm uncomfortable, I should do it less. Claire says it's a sign you are learning. It is 100% a sign you're learning because you're uncomfortable when you don't know how to do something. So it's an absolute sign that you are learning. And this is the bit you are going to have to get uncomfortable to do what we're talking about. So I would like to know, are you willing to get uncomfortable with Simon and I?
That's a bit of a weird question, Alan. But yeah, I love it. Let's go with it. Let's see what happens.
It is a weird question. You're 100% right. It is a weird question.
I love it. The chat's going so fast tonight on YouTube and on the Zoom, and I'm multitasking here. I'm the only person that's allowed apart from you.
Tell us what the catch is, Simon.
Is there a catch, Alan? Well, look, I think some of you might be thinking that maybe there's a catch to this course. The question that I wanted to ask you is, do you think there's a catch? Because, no, here's a better question. If you've got something useful from this course so far this evening, please can you type the letter Y or useful or V for value in the chat? Worth every penny, says Santa Mike. Mike, I missed your sense of humour. The Reading Massive in the house. Yeah, so it's great. And look, I've seen some great comments on the YouTube as well. And so many people are saying about selling in advance and they're asking lots of questions. How can I do it for this business? I've got an idea. I'll come back to that in a bit. But for those of you that have had some value from this course, and you know that there's a bunch of stuff that we're going to go through very shortly about helping you choose an idea and getting out of the blocks. What usually happens when you go on a free course, what usually happens at some point, somebody says, oh, we've got this coaching program and there's only 5 spaces and the price of this is usually 10,000, but just for the next 30 seconds, we're halving the price, folks. And that's the first one to type in the chat. So if any of you is worried that you're getting loads of value on a totally free 10-week course, I've got some great news. There is no catch. We are not going to sell you anything. I promise you. That's not our business model. It's lots of people's business model. You get the free webinar and then they try and sell you stuff and they send you an email a day for the next 25 years that you never really open because, well, you don't really want to and you don't want to feel pressured. There is no catch on this course because, folks, our business model is a sponsorship model, which means this particular course, we have sponsorship from Camden Council in the UK, South Ribble Council in the UK, Brent Council, Chorley Council, Bridgend Council, and West Berkshire. So a number of different locations across the UK have made this available to their residents, and we've done some specific work to recruit residents from those 6 areas on this course. And they have agreed that it adds value to their residents if there are more people on this course. What we're building here, folks, is a community of people across the world who are experimenting with business ideas so they can make a better life for them and their family. So a special shout out if you're from South Ribble, Chorley, Camden, Bridgend, West Berkshire, or Brent in London, you are very, very welcome here. And we've got lots of extras for you coming up throughout this course. But because of this sponsorship, folks, that's the reason why this course is free. And in particular, residents of those communities will benefit even more from this course. So if you like a type message of thanks into the chat, thank you from the bottom of all of our hearts to those sponsors. That's the only reason why I'm able to keep it free. And by the way, folks, that's the other reason why we ask you lots of weird questions at the start, because we have to prove who came and we have to prove the impact. Okay, so that if one of you are concerned about why we asked you a bunch of questions, it's so that we anonymize the data and we can tell these sponsors the number of people that came and what their backgrounds were so that we can get a better understanding of how we can make our service even better and keep it free forever, for everyone, forever. How cool is that? It's like a Robin Hood sort of business model, but without the arrows. Alan, should we keep going? How do you choose a business idea, Alan? What should we do?
How do you choose a business idea? Well, I'm always shocked by this one because it's amazing how many people go, like, I think I'm going to launch this business. I don't really like it. It's boring, but I think I can make money doing it. And it always blows my mind because you could build a business doing anything and they choose an idea that they don't like. Why would you ever start a business that you don't enjoy doing? It doesn't make sense to me at all. And to us, we always repeat the phrase of do something you love. And I don't care what it is you enjoy doing, there is a way to make money doing something you actually enjoy.
So, folks, the question that we're going to ask you is, what excites you? What excites you about your business ideas? And like, this is the thing, you know, when it comes to choosing an idea, this is the one that we want you to major on. I mean, that's that person that asked the chat, what if I start a boring business? It doesn't matter if you start a boring business if you enjoy the activity that it takes in order to make a boring business successful. And I think that's the key bit. So my question is, what excites you? This is Amja, who's an artist from London. What excites Amja is creating art to tell her stories and to share the learnings that she's had in life, right? Now, she is so awesome, and the progress that she's made in her business is because she's chosen something that she likes. So maybe you love art. What do you enjoy doing? What excites you? Is boxing exciting you? Can you tell me, what do you think the profession of the boxer on the right is? Type in the chat, what's the profession of said boxer? I'll give you a clue. It's not boxing. What do you think? What do you think Naomi does? Anyone that knows KP will have an insight into this one. Have we got any guesses? If anyone said lawyer, you're close.
Two people said photographer, Simon. So
yeah, that's right, correct. 1,000 points. I'm getting excited with my clicking here, Alan. There we go. So Naomi KP at Kojicam_KP is a amazing photographer and videographer. And we've got Mauricio, our Colombian coffee guy, is excited by coffee, or maybe it's gardening. The question is, do what you enjoy and what excites you. So when you're thinking of all of the business ideas that you've got at the moment, there's probably one that's already coming to the top for you, that you go, like, actually, the thing that I really love doing the most is I could start this and I could start that, and I'm a bit scared about money, so maybe I should do this one first. But the thing that's coming to the top of the tree for me is carpentry, or whatever it is for you, like Matt. So Matt came out of college. His passion was carpentry and making YouTube videos, and he's done okay for himself. He's got 1 or 2 views racked up now. So the reason that sits behind this for me, Alan, I don't know about you, but the thing about starting a business, doing something that you enjoy doing, is there's going to be days when you wake up and you're not feeling it. There's going to be days when you think, oh God, and you're going to face difficult challenges. If you're not doing something that you love, you're missing some of the leverage to get yourself out of bed and move forward, even if it's just a little bit. And the thing about doing business in 2025 is it has never been more possible to make money doing what you love. It's never been more possible to make money doing what you love. So the question that we have for you is, what excites you? Please type it in the chat. Whilst we do that, Alan, what does the inside of your head look like? We'll come on to that in a second.
So what excites you? I always had this thing. I remember years ago putting out online saying, like, you can make money doing what you love. And there's the normal trolls on the internet who go, I love this, prove how you can do that. And like gave me abuse. And one person put in there goes, I love sleeping. How can you make money sleeping, Alan? And they were being a bit sarcastic. I knew they were. But I didn't actually have an answer until I met this young guy from Scotland called Kieran, and he was launching a blog reviewing mattresses. Yes, you heard this correct. He was reviewing mattresses. So people would send him free mattresses, he would review them online, and then he would have an affiliate link to where people can buy the mattresses. Most of his work was building the website, the reviewing the mattresses, the search engine optimization, and he built $100,000 a year business reviewing mattresses. So like, if he can do that, like, what could you do? And it has never been more possible to do what you love and generate profit from it. What we have to do is find someone with a problem that you can fix and then sell them that thing, whatever it is. That's the entire game. Helen in the chat puts, I need a new mattress. What was his name again? Uh, his website was called Dozy Owl. You can find him on there. So type in Dozy Owl and you can find him there. That wasn't the reason I was telling you. I was just telling you because I think, like, if you're going to launch a business, please do something you like. Because have you experienced the Sunday evening feeling where you have a job and on Sunday evening you get this feeling of like, oh, Monday's coming round again. I don't know if I want to do it. And you get the Sunday evening blues. I hate that feeling. And it disappeared when I found Rebel Business School and I found my purpose helping people. And I found like a business that I could run that helped other people launch businesses. I could make money at the same time. And it completely changed for me. And my best piece of advice for you is if you can find a business that you love, something you enjoy, it won't feel like work and you'll be actually excited that Monday is coming. If you've got the Sunday night blues, it is a sign that something is broken and we need to make a change. That's all it is. It's a sign. So we need to find something that we love that gives us that energy of going, yes, come on, Monday, I'm in. And if you can find that, it truly doesn't feel like work. Whether it's Lego, cleaning, clearing gardens, growing fruit and veg, walking dogs, doesn't matter what it is. There is a way to make money doing something you love, so you want to get out of bed on a Monday.
So if the inside of your head is looking a little bit like this now, please type the word light bulb or the light bulb emoji in the chat. Because I just love that facial expression. I've got my camera roll is full of pictures of Alan doing facial expressions like this, guys. So too many ideas. Okay, now the first thing that we're going to do with you now to help you choose is to remind you that it's very difficult to ride two horses if you've only got one butt. Okay, you get the point that we're making here. Now, remember, it's not, you're not necessarily choosing something that you're going to have to stick with for the rest of your life. You're just choosing something for a mini experiment. It's just about getting your next mini experiment up and running. So how do you actually choose? Well, the first point is that it doesn't have to be a game-changing idea. And that's when we met Cherise, Alan.
We met Cherise. She came along to the workshop and we were doing this exact session. And we asked the question, what excites you? She looked a little bit embarrassed. So I was like, well, I have to ask. Cherise, you look a bit embarrassed. What is it that excites you? And she said, bleach and cleaning excites her. And I was a bit confused. What do you mean cleaning excites you? And she'd actually found a real buzz through creating a wonderful environment, a clean home, and she wanted to start a cleaning business. And I was like, well, that is not innovative. It's not changing. Like, cleaning businesses have been around for thousands of years, but that does not mean you can't be successful doing it and bring your own charm, charisma, and do it in your own world. So what we really wanted to say to you is this whole thing in business, if you need a unique selling point, your business must be unique, it must be game changing, it's complete rubbish. You can do something that's been around for a long time, but just do it better. Lou in the chat says, I need a Cherise. Yeah, she loves cleaning. Many of us don't. So we actually want to work with her. So find the thing you love that someone else doesn't. And there is an entire business opportunity there. And Ray says, you are your own unique selling point. He's exactly right. The business wasn't unique, but Cherise was.
Bazena's very good at cleaning too, which is great. And there's lots of light bulbs in YouTube. So let's keep going, Alan, because I want to be able to help people choose their idea. So there's a couple of bits of information that can help. For those of you that have got more than one idea kicking around, we're going to pick a horse. That horse is going to be your mini experiment for the next few weeks. You can always change it. You can always abandon it. You can change your mind tomorrow morning. That's the great thing about running a business, is that you're in charge. But maybe this will help, because some of you go, I need to hustle. I need to make money. I've got to make my rent next month. I haven't got the luxury of choosing my dream business idea. I'll do that later. But first, I'm going to do this, and then I'll do that one. So maybe a first this, then that approach because people find it hard to let go of business ideas. I met an artist in Nottingham. I said, "What's your business idea?" She said, "I'm an artist." I said, "What kind?" She said, "Well, I do watercolors, I do pottery, I'm also a life coach, I do yoga, I've got a cleaning business on the side." I'm like, "Wow, you sound really busy." She said, "I haven't got any customers." I said, "I think I know why. We need a little focus." So first this, then that. When you're choosing a mini experiment, what feels like it makes sense for you to start with, because it's what you know, it's what your resources are, it's what excites you the most, it's the stuff that you love doing. The second part to this is the someday maybe list. This gives you permission to let go of the things that you need to let go of for now. I met a dance teacher down in Kent a few years ago, and she said, "My dream business is to fly a team full of Latin American authentic salsa dancers to the UK and tour theatres around the country putting on a show." And I said, "That sounds expensive." She said, "Yes, I'm on welfare. I can't afford that at the moment." I said, "Well, let's park that idea and go and sell some dance classes first." So this is about saying what makes sense to you, what do you enjoy doing? And quick side note, for those that still aren't sure, even though we're kind of pushing you into picking a mini experiment to run with, this little graph here can help you. You get some post-it notes out, or you're right on the chart. For example, if you said, "Well, I want to start a PR business because I've been working in PR for 15 years. Where would you put that on the screen if you go, "I'm not that excited for it, but I know how to make money out of it"? You'd stick that in the the top left-hand corner. You go, "I can make money out of it, but it doesn't excite me." Or you go the other way, you go, "I really love doing X." In this particular case was Ellie Verrecchia, an artist from the West Country. She loved doing art, but I don't know how to make money out of it. I'd rather you started there because we can show you how to make money out of it. You got to have that thing of like, "This is really interesting for me. This is exciting. This is what I want to spend my time doing." Now, we're going to create some notes from this evening and from all of our sessions. We're going to send you a link to the notes. We will include this. I've just noticed, Alan, there are so many questions where people have asked, "What about this business? What about that business? How do you do that?" And so on. We're going to create some content to answer those questions. And in fact, I've got this little idea bubbling away of the challenge, Alan and Simon. How could you start any business without spending any money? By the way, using that selling in advance tactic.
Love that. If you could quit out the slides for a second, Simon, there's a few people, the fabulous Chris on YouTube, and a few people have said, like, "I don't have an idea." Like, what do you do if you don't have an idea? And so I just wanted to handle that and give you a couple of thoughts. Number one is add the magic word to the end of "I don't have an idea." And the magic 3-letter word is
Yet.
yet. I don't have an idea yet. And let me give you a process to go through that will help you find an idea. So for the next week, if you don't have an idea yet, which I love how many people have put yet, that just like lights my heart up. Here's the process for the next week. Every day in the morning, I would like you to take a notebook, piece of paper, like do the notes on your phone. I don't care where you do it. And I would like you to write 10 ideas down for businesses that you could run. And you're going to stretch yourself to write 10 ideas for businesses that you could run. And to help you do that, I have a couple of prompts. First prompt is, what do you enjoy doing? And that should spark a list of things you could do. Second prompt is, what annoys me? Because there is a business opportunity in anything that annoys you. So as you go through the day, you can write down, I was really annoyed when, and then we can come up with a way to fix that thing that annoys yourself. Remember, do not censor yourself. It doesn't have to sound like a business. Like if you love cooking, just write cooking. And then we can work out what to do with that. Katie, for one of my birthdays, gave me an Indian cooking course. And the guy came round to our house. He helped us to cook Indian food. It was his grandma's recipe. He was actually a computer programmer who got burnt out and decided to launch his own cooking business. And he had this really successful cooking business. So don't censor yourself, just put it out there. So what do you love? What do you enjoy? What did you enjoy doing as a kid? What annoys you? ask your friends what the biggest problems they have are. So what are your problems? And I would go to Simon and say, like, I'm trying to come up with business ideas. Simon, please help me. Tell me what your biggest problems are. He'd probably give me some very facetious replies.
How long you got?
Yeah, I know. Then he would write a load of stuff down that might actually inspire me, things that I can do to help him. So your job for 7 days is to write down 10 ideas. And at the end of the week, you'll have 70 ideas that you can choose from. But you must do it every single day and stretch yourself to come up with the ideas. That's how you make progress.
Love that. Okay, so business is a contact sport, folks. We need to get you off of the field and onto the stands. So how do we do that? We want to introduce the mini experiment model to you. So the mini experiment startup method is kind of breaking down in very quick steps the approach that we want you to take. And that's what this course is going to help you do. You do a mini experiment, you choose one idea, you stick it in front of an audience with a free website and ask them to buy now. And that's the process. We're going to get you to be able to answer the question, how do I ask for the sale? And we're going to introduce you to Katie Coombs next week, who's going to be working with me to give you some sales and marketing magic. And the next couple of sessions with her, she's going to help you get really kind of sharp on being able to ask for that sale. How do you know if the mini experiment works? So we're going to help you choose the idea over the next week or so. We're going to set you the homework, choose your mini experiment, get it launched. And how do you know if it worked? Number one, did you enjoy it? Have you still got that jumper, by the way?
Maybe.
Number two is, have you got happy customers? And number three is, did you make any money? So question is this: what do you actually need to get going? What do you need to get going? You need to take action. So how do you actually make money from day one? Well, you make money from day one by understanding what the number one secret is to running a business. What do you think is the number one secret to running a business? Zoomers, please can you type it in the chat? YouTube, please can you type in the chat? What is the number one secret to running a business? I did promise this right at the start. It'll be interested what people say. Get it out there, just start, have fun, somebody said. Wow, guys, you guys can type quick. Persistence.
Persistence, tenacity, passion, an idea. You do need an idea. It does help to have an idea, and we will work on developing that with you. Just do it. Take action, starting. Ask, says Amy. Ask.
Okay,
Make
Alan,
a
shall we reveal?
solve problems. Yes, definitely. Let's reveal. Sell something to someone. And this sounds daft, simplistic, but you have to sell something to someone. If you sell something to someone, then you have a business. And this is the art of the whole thing. What you have to do is define what something is, what specifically is the thing that you're going to sell. And when we say thing, it might be a service, it might be other things, but what's the thing? And then you have to define who is the someone. Who specifically is the someone you're going to sell to? And if you can do that, then that's what starts the business.
So for those that are still exploring and trying to figure out your idea, you're figuring out the something, you're choosing the thing that you think you're going to enjoy doing the most, that excites you the most, that kind of makes sense for you to get started with. And by the way, what I want you to be specific on is the product or service that you're going to choose. So for example, if you said, well, Simon, I'm really excited about yoga, so my mini experiment is about selling yoga, not detailed enough. What I want you to know is what's the exact yoga product that makes sense to you to sell first. So for example, when I speak to a yoga teacher, what happens is they go, well, I'm launching a yoga business. I go, wow, tell me about it. And they say, well, I'm doing yoga classes. I'm doing one-to-one yoga tuition. I want my own yoga clothing. I want my own branded yoga mats. I'm doing a yoga blog. And I'm also launching a yoga YouTube channel. And I go, great. Well, which one are you doing first? Because that sounds like a lot of horses you're going to be riding. And as far as I can tell, I haven't looked closely, but you only have one butt, right? I have to say some of these conversations get really awkward. And then they go, okay, I get it. Well, how do I choose which one of those things to do? And I say, well, what excites you the most? What do you think you're going to enjoy doing? Are you going to enjoy making videos? Are you going to enjoy teaching yoga? Do you want to be in a class? Do you want to be one-to-one? And they go, oh, I think I want to do, maybe I'll do one-to-one first. Great. Now we're on to something. Now you've chosen your something. Does that make sense, guys? It's like a tip of your arrow. It's like you're firing an arrow at a target. If the arrow's blunt, it's not going to stick in the target because, frankly, new business owners tend to be, sorry, I'm going to say it, a bit boring because they do what I just did. What's your business? Oh, yoga. What do you do? Well, I do classes. I do one-to-one. In fact, I'm going to do a yoga treat next year. Would you like to come on my yoga? Shut up. Right? Let's just pick one thing and be really excited about the one thing, because if you're not excited by your business, nobody else is going to be. So whether it's selling your own service or selling your own product, whether it's a digital product, whether you're selling someone else's product or service, that's a nice way to get going, or your business model is a little bit like ours, or it's a little bit like Matt Estley, the carpenter, who actually looks a little bit like Joe Wicks, but that's another conversation. What's the thing, the one product or service that you're going to lean into first? And if you're not quite sure yet, that's okay, because we've got a few days and we've got some resources to help you. You can play back this bit on YouTube if you want to have another watch. And we'll send you the link to the notes section, which will have that table in it, with the 4 yellow boxes on it. But what I want you to do, folks, is remember this is day 1 of a 10-week course. You don't have to have it all cracked on the first day. So if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed with this information, take a deep breath. And then you say, oh, yeah, Peter actually took the deep breath. I love that, Peter and Hannah. And I think actually, Hannah, you breathed at the same time as Peter did, which is really weird because you didn't know he was going to do that. So I don't know how you guys are so connected, but I'm loving it because I want you to trust the process. The trust in the process. I just scored you a lot of points, my friend. I want you to trust the process, because we've got 10 weeks together and because we've been doing this for 13 years and 60,000 people in 11 countries. If this works in Namibia, it works in wherever you are, guys. If it works in London, it can work in the USA, it works in New Zealand, even in the future. So that's where we're at, folks. Choose the thing. Once you know what the thing is, and by the way, you can do it in reverse order, but more about that later. Once you know the kind of product or service that you think you're going to start with, then you can figure out who the someone is. And in that picture is the fabulous Jael and Sonia, both Rebel School alumni. I think Sonia might be here actually, both running food businesses in different ways. And Alan, who's the someone? What's the number one thing that people say when you say to them, who's your customer? Who's your target customer? What's the number one thing that everybody says? Please type it in the chat. And what do they say, Alan?
Everyone. That's literally what they say. They go, everyone, whoever wants to buy it, everyone can buy it. And if there's one thing we've learned over the years is if you try to sell to everyone, you will end up selling to no one. And that's just the way the universe works. It is super annoying, but that's what everyone tries to do, is broadcast their product out to the world and try and sell to everyone. But that's the quickest way to waste your money and your time. You will burn through all your cash trying to do broadcast adverts on Facebook. You will spend all of your money getting out there. It's the quickest way to failure. The quickest way to success is to start with a very specific niche or niche, if you're American. I don't know where the T is, but niche marketing. And you find a very small audience and you get famous in that small audience, because it is easy to find a small audience. You can't find everyone. You say, well, okay, let's go out and find everyone. Right, well, I don't know where everyone hangs out. But I know if I am targeting a specific audience, maybe I'm targeting lawyers or solicitors. Well, I know where their offices are. I can find them on Google Maps. I can send them messages. That's the way to target a specific demographic. And you might not know who the specific targeting your demographic is. That's okay. We just have to start with one. You just start with one audience, and it's your first best guess at what audience that you were going to go for. And then you test it. We're back to the mini experiment. We test it. Maria says, I still can't find any ideas. Maria, your homework is to come up with ideas, and we'll come on to that in a bit, but I kind of trailed that earlier, is let's come up with the idea. The other way to do this is to go to the audience. Maybe you've got the audience and not the idea. Go to the target audience and say, what are your biggest problems? How can I help you? And then that will help you find the idea that you could sell. So you can start either side, audience or thing or service or product, but you can start both sides. And that kind of brings us on to, at this stage, you need to define who is your audience. So we're going to go way more into this in sales and marketing, but just to give you an idea for who is your customer, like where are they? Where do they hang out? How old are they? Where do they go? What do they enjoy? What do they like? What do they do? What else do they buy? Because maybe they buy a different product or service, and you can go, well, if they buy this, they'll be interested in my product. People who read books by this author would also be interested in my books, and then we can go out and find those people. But the more specific you can be about the audience, the more likely it is you can find that audience. And the key expression at the end of this, it doesn't matter where you focus at the start, it just matters that you focus. It's very unlikely that you will pick your perfect audience first time, but actually you'll find it by picking an audience. So we focus, we run a mini experiment on one audience, and then we start from there. And I'm guaranteeing you that in action, you will unfold which audience you actually need to go for. But you will never find out who that audience is just sat at your computer thinking about it. It will come from the act of marketing, selling, and putting yourself out there.
Beautiful. And that customer, by the way, they need to have some money, don't they? Alan, have you ever experienced trying to sell to people that don't have any money? It's really depressing.
It really is. If you could cut out for 1 second, Simon. Now, this was my worst year in business, my very worst year in business. I was so passionate. I was going to sell to schools. What's one thing schools don't have a lot of? Money. They just don't really have a lot of cash. And I spent an entire year, I networked through all of the head teachers, I networked all the way up to the Department of Education. I spent my time trying to sell to people without cash. And if there was one thing that I could save you from doing, it would be spending your time selling to people without money. Pick an audience with money. And if you want to help an audience without money, there's several ways to do it. One, sell to an audience with money. And then once you've made money, give it away to the audience without money. Or two, find someone who does have money, who's willing to pay you to support the people you really want to help. That's a sponsorship model. That's someone that wants to help this particular audience. It's a corporate sponsor that does have money that wants you to give it away. There is an incredible amount of ways to do it. Just please focus on selling to someone with money.
So, folks, what we're going to do in a moment is, I think, Alan, it would be great for us to have a look at a few questions for a couple of minutes before we deliver some closing messages. But my final message for you guys for this little bit is to start small, start where you're at, not where you wish you were at. Don't skip ahead, learn on the journey and just start. And by start, I mean exactly what Alan said. Let's get out there and have some conversations with people. Even if you haven't got a business idea yet, go and have a conversation with someone in your local cafe. Have a conversation with someone in your friends and family who do have a business, or they can introduce you to someone and say, hey, how did you start this? And by the way, if you go out for a coffee with me, that's usually what happens. I make friends with the owner and then we find out how they started their business. That's what life is like for me. So before we deliver some closing messages out, did you have anything else that you wanted to check in on? Should we take some questions?
I would love to take a few questions to make sure we've covered as much as we can. It's been a very quick night. There are a few questions that Katie's highlighting to me in the question and answer section.
Use that so it'd be easy to see.
Yeah. So Katie says the easiest way for us to see your questions is the question and answer section if you're in Zoom. So if you're in Zoom, actually put it in the Q&A section. That would help us. Anna says, can you please repeat the bit about clients with money? Anna, and to everyone else listening to this, you have a choice of selling to anyone. So you could sell to absolutely anyone out there. Why would you ever pick someone who doesn't have money? Because that makes it really tough for you. You're going to be negotiating over money. You're going to be struggling to sell to them. They don't have enough money. Pick an audience that has the money to be able to buy what it is you're offering. That's the best way to do it. Stephen says, Bethany is scared of speaking to people to try and sell. How can we get her to be brave? We have a couple of sessions on sales, marketing, and that will include sections on confidence. And we will go through that for you, Stephen. And to everyone who's feeling nervous about this, like, this is part of the journey. It's going to get uncomfortable. It's going to become nervous. And we have to just work through this stuff together. So if you're feeling nervous, acknowledge where you are. Let's take a breath and we will work through it together, because it can be nerve-wracking finding your first client, getting your first sale. It can definitely be nerve-wracking. Drojan says, how do we find our audience? I will answer this one. How do we find the audience? The key is picking one audience to start with. You will probably not pick exactly the right audience to start with, but you will learn something from trying to sell to them. And what you learn from trying to sell to that audience will help you to find the right audience for your product or service. So you just have to pick an audience to sell to, and that will lead you through learning and action to the audience that you'll eventually get to. So that will help massively with what you're doing.
I just seen something from Lucy that says she actually loves clearing overgrown gardens. I'm obsessed with this guy in America on YouTube that does that and does like a speeded up version of garden clearing. Now, listen, you've just reminded me of one of my favorite participants from one of our courses in Wales. Just before COVID, we met Elaine. Elaine sat in the front row of the course and she was scowling at me because it was in a room. It was in a freezing cold room with no heating. And she was being told to go there by the job centre in the UK. And she was staring at me like this. I didn't really want to be here, because she thought we were going to run a business that she didn't want to run. And she was sat in that course thinking, do you know what I really enjoy doing is gardening. And when we asked her that question of who's your target customer, she said, well, I live in a community where there's lots of older people. And I reckon they would much rather have a female gardener and feel safer than having some strange bloke traipsing through the house, right? So when Elaine was sat there, went, ding, light bulb moment, maybe I could sell gardening. I couldn't, could I? And if I said this to you, is where are those customers? Where are those older people living in that community? Where do they go? Where do they hang out? What do they do with their time? How do I go and find some potential customers to speak to? Where do you think she went? Off she trots to the local church, pitches to the vicar and says exactly what I just said to you. I think the older people in my community, in our community, would much rather a female gardener. They'd feel safer than some strange man traipsing through the house. Can I come and meet your ladies in the coffee morning on a Saturday morning? And she went along, she took a packet of custard creams, did her pitch, took 4 minutes. Well, actually, the pitch took 4 minutes. She ended up staying there for about 3 hours, chatting to everybody. 4 customers up and running. And it's that simple, folks. So if you're not quite at that stage yet, you haven't quite had your light bulb moment, that's okay. Plenty of time. We'll figure it out together. Just start having those conversations, because that's where it's gonna hit you one day. What else have you seen now?
Sebastian says, how do you push people to give you feedback after the pitch if it just goes quiet? And to me, the way I do it when I'm launching is I'm saying to people when I pitch, like, if you don't want it, that's absolutely fine. I'm brand new at this. Please just give me feedback. Just tell me what you think and help me to learn. And that has created massive amounts of feedback, and I've learned so much from that bit. So if it goes quiet, you just need to reach out and go, I understand it's probably gone quiet because you're not interested. Please, will you help me with a little bit of feedback so that I can understand and learn? I would really appreciate that. That's my way of doing it.
I love it.
And then a question from Hannah. Hannah says, how do I choose when I have 5 ideas and I'm excited by all of them? They're all very different in scale and type, so I can't settle on one.
Yeah. Well, I think like it goes back to that thing of, well, first this, then that. Hannah, you can absolutely do all of your ideas. I want you to do all of your ideas. I just wouldn't recommend you did them all at once. So pick the one that makes most sense to you, either because it's the one that you lean towards. Okay. Like if I held a gun to your head, which one would you choose? Would you go, oh my goodness, I'll choose the gardening one or whatever? So maybe that, put yourself under a bit of pressure for a moment. If you could only choose one, which would you choose? Or you can say, well, I have the resources for this one. I already know some of the people. I've already been doing this work for some time. And I think that was one of the best bits of advice that I ever got in the early days, right? The process to go through to get a business working for you is exactly the same process. It doesn't matter which idea that you choose. So depending on how soon you need to make money, maybe it makes sense to choose the one which you've already got a lot of knowledge and experience in, if it still excites you. That's how I'd approach that one.
Love that, Simon. Victoria says, should I consider taking a course on social media so that I can market myself properly? It's not my strong point, so worries me somewhat. Can you recommend any good social media courses, please? The good news is we have a session on promoting yourself online on social media. So just go through this course and see what you've got. The 10-week course that we've got for you has been designed to build and by the end give you everything you need to start your business. So go through this course and then we can ask what gaps do you still have at the end and work out if you do need something or whether this course gave you enough. So I would start here, trust the process, follow it through, and let's see where we get to by week 10 of the course.
Love that. There's a lot of horse riding going on here. So Stephanie Warner says, I'm riding 3 horses with my one butt. Me too. I've been there, Stephanie. I know which horse I'm going to continue to ride. What do I do with the other 2? Well, going all in on my main idea. And I think it's it's a relationship between money. If those things are providing you with an income and that income is still important to you, there's a couple of thoughts here. Maybe there's a way of automating. Maybe if you can lean into one of those ideas to get it to a point where it's making enough money that you can get someone else to do it for you, because you're in entrepreneur territory. This is about organizing people and persuading and influencing and finding ways of getting people to do things so that you don't have to, and you can free up the time to do the thing that you really want to focus on. So is there about automation? Well, the flip side of that, Stephanie, is if you've got a main gig that you really want to lean into, my question would be, why are you still doing those other 2 things? Maybe it's time to press pause or maybe even stop to give yourself the time and freedom and energy to be able to focus on the one that's most important to you. But it does depend on that relationship with money. And if you wanted to keep them going, you've got to get someone else to do some of that stuff for you, I think.
A couple of people asked, is the course every Monday and Thursday? Yes, just like Rebel Finance School, it's Monday for the main session, Thursdays for Q&As and Simon coaching, and it's a 10-week course, and you can find the full schedule on the Side Hustle page, I believe, or if you've signed up, you should have an email about what's coming up every single week. Now, we had a couple of questions on pricing. How do you get your pricing right without under or overcharging for your product? How do I know what the pricing structure should be? We will cover pricing. I just wanted to say that you will never get it right first time. You just have to make the most educated decision you possibly can, work, make it happen, and then you'll probably have to readjust the second time, the third time, the fourth time as you go. But a lot of the times it's about getting it done first and then working it out as you go. So you'll never get it perfect the first time. And then we've had a few questions of, where are Katie and Alan? Why is it still light outside? Katie and I have moved to Venice Beach in California, and we're hanging out on the beach for a couple of months, which is great. And I'm going to Disneyland for my birthday. So there you go. That's what's going on with us at the moment and where we are. So we've done a lot of questions, Simon. I think we should probably do the announcements and then the closing message to make sure that we thank you for a lot of people have done birthday emojis and cake. Oh, I want cake now. I've seen all the cake emojis in Zoom. Thank you for the birthday wishes, everyone. It's awesome. I'm 47 this year and going to Disneyland. Never grew up. And it's awesome. People are doing pizza emojis, Lego emojis. This is genius. Love it. Thank you, everyone. So let's make sure we deliver the key messages, Simon, and then the closing message to everyone, because we want to leave them full of joy and positivity and with what they need to get going.
Absolutely. And I saw someone that just posted something in the chat about managing their mental health while they're starting a business. This information, just to recap on this last little slide, this is about dialing back the idea. This is great advice, I think, for someone who struggles with their mental health, because actually, I've been in that position and in starting and growing businesses when I've been in a bit of a pickle and I got myself overwhelmed. So dial back the idea and start small. Start where you're at, not where you wish you were at. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Manage your energy levels. Look after yourself first. And then just make a start. Go have one conversation and see where it takes you. And you can let go of all of the stuff that you think you need to do, because there's something about climbing a staircase, isn't there? Somebody said that once. I think it was Einstein that said, anyone can climb a staircase. You just have to take one step at a time. He didn't exactly say that. I'm paraphrasing, but look, I'm not an Einstein expert. Stop cross-examining me, Alan. Okay, so let's go on. So closing messages coming up very shortly. What I'd also like to do, Alan, if that's okay with you, I have a sneaking suspicion that the mighty Katie Coombs is actually on this call. And I wanted to get her on very briefly to say hi so that we can introduce her to her and let everybody know that, who she is, because she'll be working with me for the next couple of weeks on all of the sales and marketing related stuff. But first of all, we've got a mission for people, Alan, haven't we? What's the mission?
We do have a mission, and that's actually the key bit. This is your homework. Your mission is to decide on your first mini experiment. Now, there are no right or wrong answers here, but that's our aim, is by the end of this week, you've decided on your first mini experiment. What are you going to sell? Who are you going to sell it to? And how are they better off? So let's define the homework in a bit more detail, but that's the mission. Decide on your first mini experiment. So the freedom work for this week, because building a side hustle can be incredibly freeing. Levi's like, ooh, homework. I think it's ooh, homework. He's excited. We're rebranding it as freedom work because doing this work actually creates an incredible life of freedom. Now, here's what we'd like you to do. Number one is, if you don't have an idea yet, it's the process of 10 ideas a day for the week. Write a list of things that excite you, things that annoy you, problems that you think need fixing. Ask your friends what problem they have. Collect ideas. You are in idea collection mode. And if you're struggling with that, then ask for help. Number two is list all the possible audiences you could serve. Who do you know? People you work with, clubs you go to, communities you're involved in online. What are the communities you could serve? Because sometimes your idea will come out of who are you going to serve and look after, because that's what basically a business does, is they serve a client and then they charge for it. So your number two is write a list of possible audiences you could serve. If you already know what it is you're going to do, then you're going to skip those two bits and go to my first mini experiment. I will test, and you're going to say like three things. I am going to sell whatever it is you're going to sell. I'm going to sell that to the audience. Who is your audience? And then the third bit is which helps them too. So the audience is better off by whatever it is they're better off with what you're doing. And to help you do that final piece of homework and to help us understand what businesses you've got and to better serve you, we'd like you to tell us about your mini experiment. So on the next slide, Simon has a QR code that will take you to a short form where you'll put in the answers to those three things: what you're selling, who you're selling it to, and how those people are better off. And if you don't know the answer to those, you can fill out that form and say, I don't know the answer yet. And it will send you an email reply with our best help to help you decide on what that is. So this is the process that will help you to go through that. We had someone say they can't use the QR code. So I'm going to do a live test as well and see if it works. Please do a test. Is the QR code working for you? We'll put the link in the chat as well. It's managed to come up on my screen, seems to be working. Okay, a few people are saying it's working, which is awesome. A few people have said they don't like filling out this kind of thing. Completely get it. No one wants to be boxed in, but it's what helps you make progress. Because forcing ourselves to be very defined with what we're doing will enable us to take our first experiment. And that's the key bit. Ewan is putting the link in the chat on YouTube and Zoom. Ewan works for the Rebel Business School. He's helping us doing it, which is awesome. As you can find the chat. We're going to send it out in the notes as well afterwards, Simon, so everyone will get it by email.
That sounds like a splendid idea, Alan. I don't know why.
I think that would be a good idea. Yeah.
I just felt like saying the word splendid.
Splendid. Levi says it's just the how do I help them that's tricky. Like, how do I actually deliver value? Levi, that's the key bit to fill out. And if you don't know, we have a couple of ways to do it. One is through the form, which will give you an idea, some feedback. And two, we have a Facebook community that you can join and ask questions in. So you could say to people like, here's my problem or here's my challenge, and the community will be able to help support you with those ideas. And Simon and the other rebels will be having a look at those conversations and helping throughout the week. So you'll be able to go to the Rebel Business School support group that will help you with some answers, and we will have notes for the course. So if you found bits that went too fast or whatever it is, you will be able to find all of the notes there. Ricardo says, I've got to pick up my kids. When are we finishing? Ricardo, we're just going to do the closing message. We're closing in probably 4 minutes, I think, and then we'll be done. So that's the Facebook group.
And just a reminder, folks, that Thursday is Q&A day. Thank you for everyone that's typed in a question into the Q&A boxes on Zoom. And for those in YouTube, we've done the same. What we're going to do is we're going to harvest those, and I'm going to dive into those questions on Thursday, and I'm going to start answering them in a lot more detail. The kind of detail, actually, that we've answered 2 or 3 of those questions in detail tonight, but I'm going to go through all of these. I'm going to spend a good 90 minutes. I'm going to get under the skin of the questions. And I've seen some fantastic questions, things about imposter syndrome, things about people that are trying to figure out how to sell sunscreen and where do they find their audience. I'm going to dive into the answers to those. So if you've got any questions that you specifically want to ask about your business, type it in the Q&A before we finish. You've got about 3 or 4 minutes to do that. And then for what's happening on Thursday, well, oh, that was exciting. Did you hear that?
Yes, keep going.
Yeah, it's weird. I had the American voice in my head or something, but it was actually on the Zoom. So the Side Hustle Experiment session 2 happens on next Monday evening, same time, 8 until 9:30 or 10, and we're going to have the fabulous Katie Coombs. Now, I think Katie is here, and I'm just going to introduce.
I am.
You are there. How did you?
I'm here. I'm here. Good evening.
Hello. Fancy seeing you here.
Manchester calling. We have the scores for tonight. It was a brilliant session. Thank you, chaps.
Can't wait for Monday.
What's going on Monday? Oh, yeah, next Monday. I'm here.
Don't do that to me. So Katie's going to be joining me on Monday. Katie, what sort of stuff should we do on Monday? What are you feeling? We do sales magic. I'm teasing where the course is written.
Well, yes, sales magic. So I'm going to be taking people through how to actually have a sales conversation one-to-one with another human being without being a bit sick in your mouth. Did you hear that? Yeah. Actually, how to sell okay, without being pushy, without being desperate, but trying to persuade them to buy. None of that. We don't need any of that. And you can just be yourself. It's a lovely session. It's my favorite bit of the Rebel School course. And that's what I'm going to do on Monday. Yeah, that's it, Monday. And also, I'll be talking about money. I'll be talking about pricing. Yeah, it's the thing we all want to talk about. How much do you charge? Yeah, and I think you touched on it earlier, Alan. It's always a thing. So we're going to dive straight into it on week 2, and we're going to talk money. It's a lovely session. And by the end of that session, you'll know your pricing. You'll know where you're going to go with it, and you'll be moving forward. And we're going to do a few other surprises as well on over the 2 weeks that I'm here to talk about sales and marketing. So that's it. Can't wait.
Do we get to find a little bit about your story next week? Are you going to mention that at all?
Well,
press gang you into that potentially?
Well, you know that I do like the sound of my own voice, and I do like to talk about myself. So I have to kind of keep that in a little bit. But if anyone asks me, I'm just going to tell them exactly how I started my business without any money whatsoever. And I can tell you all about that and what happened, the tears and the tantrums along the way. So I've got that for you next week.
It wouldn't be the same without tears and tantrums. Katie,
Constant.
Thank you so much. Can't wait to see you next Monday. Thank you for letting me bully you into coming to say hi.
Lovely to see everybody. See you all next week.
Bye-bye. So, folks, I hope you've enjoyed today's session. We have some closing thoughts for you.
Just before the closing thoughts, Simon, a couple of people have said, shouldn't we do our legal structure and setup of the business first? Shouldn't we think about tax first? The answer is no. And to give you a little reason, in the UK, you have £1,000 trading allowance. So you can do a mini experiment and make sales and not even have to report it if you don't sell more than £1,000. So you can defer that, do the mini experiment, and then work out what structure you want to do it later. So it will free you to make progress from that. And I just wanted to make that very clear. We can figure all that out, and Katie and I will be covering it in week 4 of the course. We will be doing all of that stuff on week 4 of the course.
Beautiful. Thanks, Alan. So we're going to have the Q&A session at 8 p.m. on Thursday, and I'm going to be answering a bunch of questions then. And, you know, I think, like, just to finalize that little bit, what you've just said, Alan, where should your energy and effort go when starting a business? Where do you want to spend your time? Do you want to spend your time having a business, or do you want to spend your time looking at the legal forms? I know where I used to think I needed my ducks in a row before I launch, and then worry about the ducks later.
You'll actually figure out how to do the ducks through the process of launching, and we will help you to do that. The closing message is no one is coming to save you. You have to create your own life, and the life you want will not create itself. You have to build it through your actions, through your energy, through your risk, being embarrassed, through your risk of your energy and time. The future belongs to those that create it. So what Simon and I want to say to you is take action and go and make it happen. And it will be unbelievable what progress you will make. And the reason we're doing this every Monday and Thursday night is we will be here alongside you as you build your business. So after the sales week, you're going to be testing, going out and making sales. That's how you build a business. And then if it goes well, we'll be here to celebrate with you. And if it goes wrong, we'll be here to commiserate with you and then work out what to do next. And we want to be beside you every step of the journey to building your business and making money doing something you love.
See you on Monday, everybody. With the mighty Katie Coombs, we're going to get into sales. Thank you, Alan. Love you.
Thank you, Sir Payne. Thank you, everyone, for coming. It's been the most unbelievable night. So much fun. And yeah, YouTube people, love you. Thank you for coming and watching on YouTube. It's been so lovely having you here. We will deal with all your questions as we go through the course. The key is just to keep working on it step by step. Even if you don't know the whole journey, just keep going because the magic is in the action. So YouTubers, Love you as always. Thank you for coming. Janet, Justine, Amy, Deela, Lauren, Westermo Lad is here. Love it. Rebellion Websites is here. Drojan, thank you for coming. Jill, Annette, James, love you. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here.